want to talk about basic income, but while going there, there's some stuff that's happening all around us in the stock market that that's kind of interesting, and I do study these things. Uh, I was watching Gregory Mannarino, and he was saying that the stock market is going up. Well, when you add up all the numbers and you divide by all the companies, then yeah, the stock market, the valuation is going up. But it's only because the Federal Reserve pumped I don't know how many $1 trillion into the stocks of select companies. So this is actually what it's called the selective hyperinflation. So we are having inflation, but only certain banks, certain stocks, they're getting this money, and they're coming back to life. Their stock is doing great. But then Gregory Mannarino said that the stocks of other companies, which are like basic industries, like oil, copper company, stock of restaurant chains, companies that manufacture housing goods, you name it, they're falling apart. Their stock has lost in the last round 30-40%, and we still got some ways to go. So it's well, Mr. Manarino, he really knocks himself out, trying to figure out, hey, this is all fake. What am I doing here? But what what he really needs to do is divide the stock market into really two pieces. One piece is these companies that are favored by Federal Reserve, and they get all the cash. And then the rest of them are stocks of companies that are regular mom and pop, or just manufacturer, or a basic industry oil company that they are getting hammered. So he is trading the real market, but you cannot really look at the real market and take into account all these phony, high wire clowns that are also have become part of it. Well, if United States came up with the basic income, then it will be like a put under a market, but it will not be put under the stock market. It will be put under the market that we really live in, the real world market. And then most people will just kind of ignore what these high-flying capitalists or high-flying bankers are doing, and just get on with their own lives. And the little money, say it was 1,000 per person, but in every family or anywhere in the United States, then that money, even though it's not a lot of money, it will increase the velocity of money. Because say Joe a bag of donuts received that $1,000, then he would be spending it on probably cigarettes and liquor and pay some rent, and the money will be gone within a week or two, but it will not be going into gambling casinos. It will not be going to derivative markets. It will be going into many industries that we need them, and they should not falter. They should not fall apart. Uh, that's basic in the industries that we would need them at any time. I was listening to another commentary There was this guy, he was like a manager of national restaurants or something like that, and he was talking about how important restaurants are, or that business, which is completely going to die out because many other businesses like small farms, uh, slaughterhouses, uh, places that make and sell condiments, uh, little uh, little bread making operations. It just most of the money comes back and goes into many different industries. And if this industry dies, then a lot of people will be in trouble. Well, also a lot of young people work for restaurants, and so I mean the basic income it will be like a put to make sure that many things go on regardless of all the shenanigans that the U.S. government or their banks are doing. Uh, well, actually, I think that what actually saved capitalism and the fact that we are not all communists or members of the communist party is because of the New Deal and the effort, the strong conscious effort to make sure that the wealth, no matter what form or shape this wealth might have, this wealth might be money that the Federal Reserve can publish without worrying about crashing the dollar. Okay, no matter what form the wealth takes, it would be a very good idea to make sure that this wealth is channeled down, and there is a put on most people's economy. But listening to many analysts and even alternative media, they are so seduced by this older form of capitalism that doesn't even exist anymore. Well, the capitalism that we have now is actually either crony capitalism or disaster capitalism, which means like it has been so corrupted. It resembles nothing like real capitalism. There is no free flow of goods, monies, and most of the money that comes into the economy is money that's published, the debt that's created, and then given haphazardly to friends and relatives of the banks. The Federal Reserve does business with them, or it goes into the military industrial complex to make the next war. So this is not capitalism. There's nothing similar to capitalism. And most people here, they don't have savings. They don't. Companies borrow money and they reinvest in their own stock. There is no reinvestment in new technologies. Most of the new technologies doesn't come from here. It comes from China or Japan or. Uh, I heard that Iranians they have made their own UFOs and they used it in military operations, which means the technologies that the Americans they throw to the sideways, the foreigners are picking them up, using them, and they don't have these technologies. They don't have to be great investments because they have value. Just like basic industries, they have value. You have to invest in them. You don't want to live in a town where there is nobody makes bread. Okay, you're gonna have problems. You don't want to live in a country that there are no more shoe factories. Okay, something's gonna go wrong with that. So I think the basic industry would be just like a New Deal, but right now, U.S. Congress or the Federal Reserve are just writing big checks and giving it to anybody. They're scared, and they know they cannot do business as before, so they're trying to anything. They just give it money, helicopter money, any kind of money to see if they can dig themselves out and back to what they were doing. Well, I don't think things will go back to normal. I had another video called Singularity and Zombies. Many American companies are zombie companies or were zombie companies before they shut down. And they did not have good business model. They don't have good profit margin. So the desire to come back is not very strong. And also, it's very surprising that many companies, even though they know there is antiviral medications, uh, there is cures for coronavirus, they still hang on to coronavirus because it was the perfect crisis that they could just shut operations that they didn't want anymore, let go of people they barely were hanging on to, and it's very sad. And I think that we are going to see there was a 30% collapse or 40% collapse in the stock market of many companies. Okay, we are not adding everything up. We are not including the millionaires and the high-flying banks. We are not including them. We are including the real stock market, which is just any company, excluding the FANG and the banks. Well, then they suffered a 30% collapse. Then I think that we're gonna see another 30%, as if somebody was on top of a very long stairs and he fell down and there was a little plateau and he just fell unconscious over there and then he got up and it was walking around and then he's gonna fall from the second set of stairs, another 30-40%, and then there will be a plateau there for a little while, and then another 10% after that. I think that the stock market is going to collapse like 70%, the real stock market. And in the meantime, the Fed is going to just keep publishing money and handing it out to more FANG or stock buybacks or more banks. They're just going to print another 50 trillion, 100 trillion, and in this process, they're going to lose the confidence of the population. I don't know if the dollar is going to die out before then. But, if in this process they did another New Deal and the population started spending money again, there was some confidence. Maybe things will not be as bad, or I don't think things will go back to the way it was, but I think it might not be as bad. And but the Americans, they need to lose their fascination with these neoliberal philosophy, with this old form of capitalism, and it's just propaganda. I see a lot of stuff in their media that has no bearing on reality. It's just a certain way of looking at themselves and the world as if they are still in the 1960s or 1970s. Well, another thing that's very strange with the American media is like every time that they are deeply in trouble, they're going to inject themselves with another war, and war spending will bring us back. And you hear all these calls. Let's do this to China. Let's do, let's do that with the Iranians. Uh, these foreign countries, they are not helpless. They have very good technologies. Many of them, including Iran, have nukes, and also they are able to come around and touch Uncle Sam very intimately. Maybe in Washington D.C. Uh, I don't know. It's just might be the last dance for Western powers, but I mean things are very bad. We shouldn't start a war. We are very much in trouble economically. Uh, do we want another war? I don't think so. I don't think our economy, our society here, well, I'm not talking about my homeland, Iran, could take another war, or it could take more losses. I don't know. Well, please leave comment and subscribe, all that. Thank you very much.